What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room, hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. So we're back to Hughley and Monique again. But I wanted to talk about this real quick because he was recently on the Jason Lee podcast show, interviewed by Jason Lee, and he brought up a number of different things that he talked about. Talked about Cat Williams, Kanye, state of comedy, Will Smith, a number of different things, right? But I wanted to talk about this real quick because I know that a lot of people have just been like, I am done with Monique. Since the situation with her son that a lot of us didn't even know existed, and the back and forth with her and her husband, her daddy, coming out and sharing things that they really should have just kept to themselves about the son, which made things, I feel like, worse. But when it comes to D.L. Hughley, he's claiming that the things that Monique said has fractured his relationship with his daughter. Now, the full story, I remember hearing about it, but just to give a little brief synopsis, what I believe happened, and I could be wrong, so you guys can either correct me or add to it or whatever in the comment section and let me know. But what I believe the situation was something that was involving a friend. I don't know if the friend is still a friend or is a former friend, but if this person violated your daughter, I don't know how you could still call them a friend. But I believe the situation was it was a friend that did something that violated his daughter, and his daughter told him about it, and he didn't believe his daughter. I believe that was what the situation was. Now, Monique commented on it when she and he were having their issues back and forth, which stemmed from her being on his radio show, and she didn't like the game that they were going to play. And we heard her talk about that on the Shannon Sharp Club Shay Shay podcast. Well, she had shared that story before too, so it wasn't a new situation that she had talked about or a new story that she shared. But anyway, she talked about it, and then they had a situation with the club booking and who was really the headliner and all of this other stuff back and forth. It was just a number of different things, right? But it all stemmed from her being offended by what was said or the game that they were supposed to play or whatever on the show. And he wasn't on the show that time. And she said she reached out to him and she said he had an attitude and all this other stuff, right? But anyway, he talked about it briefly on the Jason Lee show, and I want to play this clip because I really would love to know what you guys think about this.
Club Shay Shay interview you're talking about with Monique and...
Well, here's what I will say. Yeah. That whatever was said is not for me.
Yeah.
Whatever was said opened up a wound in my daughter that we're arguing about right now. Mm-hmm. I've never had much in my life, but the love of my children I've always had. Mm-hmm. And something jeopardizes that, I can never forgive you for it. Mm-hmm. Before it happened, I knew it was happening because my daughter called me and this is going to happen. And she's in therapy and crying because she knew that people were going to automatically know about what had happened to her before and I'll never forgive you for that. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm in a compromised situation where I'm with something I genuinely love. I ain't loved a lot. I love my children. Mm-hmm. And to feel like I couldn't protect them and that plays out over and over again, it's something I won't forgive you for. Mm-hmm. I won't.
So you talked about it. I wasn't going to bring it up, but since we're there. So she brings up your daughter having gone through a very personal experience where she was victimized.
My daughter's so angry with me, she hasn't spoken to me in weeks.
Still from that?
Yep.
But it wasn't you that brought that.
Doesn't make a difference. When somebody's gone through something, they don't want...
It's their trigger.
And when they're triggered, what do?
Yeah, you lash out.
Look, it's a lot, I feel, to unpack with this, but The thing that I'm going to say about that situation is this, because he revealed that his daughter hasn't spoken to him in weeks. Well, if you recall, when he came out and he responded to Monique's interview on Club Shay Shay podcast, he was low-key bragging about how he has such a tight-knit, close family, that he has all of his family in his life, but Monique can't say the same thing about hers. And now he's pissed because his daughter, who's made her own decision to not speak to him, it to me sounds like it's because of your actions that she has chosen to separate herself for a little while, not because of Monique. Now, he could be mad all he wants to say, well, Monique is the one that brought this back up when we were in a good place right now, because it was a trigger for her. But ultimately, she's upset with her dad because her dad is the one that chose not to react and handle the situation when she brought it to him. Again, I don't know the full dynamics and the full details of that situation. I could choose to go back and listen to it, but to be honest with you, it's not that I don't care, but I just don't want to. Stuff like that, it's just not fun to listen to it. And I got, a lot of stuff going on in my life where I'm trying to catch up and get this done and get that done. So that's just not something that I care to really do. So if somebody wants to give me the rundown in the comment section, I welcome you to do that. But to me, it sounds like he's placing the blame where it doesn't deserve to be placed. Now, he could be upset all he wants to with the fact that Monique brought it back up, because, yeah, it's like one of those things where you're in a good place with somebody that you haven't really been in a good place with for a while. So you're really not wanting anything to come up that's going to trigger that person to go back to that place of you both being angry with each other again, or whatever the case, would be. So with that being said, to me, it sounds like he's like blaming Monique. And again, I'm not taking Monique's side because I don't believe that she should have ever said that in the first place. It should have just not even gone to saying anything about that situation, because some people could make the argument to say, well, she wasn't talking about the daughter. She was talking about how he handled the situation. But that's a touchy subject. It shouldn't have been touched, period. It shouldn't have been touched, period. Because even when she made the joke on stage talking about his wife saying, how it must feel to suck the ding-a-ling of a coward, she was saying, well, I wasn't talking about his wife. I was talking about him being a coward. But you already know, you saying something in that way, it's not just about him. It's about his wife too. So, people laughed at it. A lot of people thought it was funny, and it would get the laughs, of course, or the shock value that she wanted it to at that moment in time. But you can't come out later and say, yes, my sweet babies, I love us for real. Okay. And try to justify that or make logical sense in that situation, because it's just like some things you just shouldn't even touch. You shouldn't even talk about at all. And that's a situation when it comes to his daughter and what she went through. She should have just left that alone. But with that being said, right now, DL, he's in a place of hurt. But it was his daughter's decision to do that and not speak to her dad based on his actions, not because of what Monique said. Period. And some could argue, well, what she said caused her to start thinking about things a different way, to say, well, you know what? Maybe he didn't really protect me like he should have. And having second thoughts, that could be the case too. And I wouldn't doubt that either. And then even with that being said, he still doesn't have the right to be mad at her. I mean, he can feel however he wants to feel, but he can't blame her for that, because her feelings, meaning his daughter, her feelings about the situation is her feelings, no matter what Monique said about it. So yeah, maybe he shouldn't have came out and made that comment back at Monique about my family loves me and we're all close and connected, and you can't say the same thing about your family. And now here he is with that today. You just have to really be careful when it comes to stuff like that, right? So with all of that being said, let me know how you feel about this in the comment section, guys. Thanks so much for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.